Hi everyone, welcome to a new session in our Fall Career Academy series led by Career and Professional Development. Our Career Academy sessions are focused on providing you with the necessary tools and resources to advance your career journey. And we're so glad that you're watching with us today. My name is Sharon O'Kane, and I'm the Assistant Director in Career and Professional Development. I currently lead the Healthcare and Wellness community, and I provide career coaching to all students and alumni at Mercy University. One great thing about Career Academy is that once you watch all of the Career Academy sessions and you complete the surveys at the end of each session, you are one step closer to earning a Career Academy badge. This could be showcased on your LinkedIn profile or other job profiles that you might use. And you're also entered to win an iPad from us. So we really encourage you to get as much information from these sessions as possible, as it can be very helpful to your career. The theme for the semester is career transitions. Whether it's choosing your major to fit a career that you want or figuring out when to leave a job, these sessions are for you. I am personally very excited to bring you this topic as someone who has gone on a roller coaster ride with my own career trajectory. While it's absolutely possible to change or advance your career, it can come with its challenges. But I ultimately felt a true sense of fulfillment when I made the change. To give you a little backstory, I originally wanted to get into international business when I was younger, but I ended up studying business finance during my undergrad. After graduation, I had no clue what to do with finance, and I did a lot of research into the job industry, into job titles I could go for, and more. And after starting but never really completing short courses in financial planning, in accounting, I realized the finance just was not for me. I worked in administration as an administrative assistant for over 8 years in corporate settings, but I never really felt fulfilled. I ended up taking some career assessments online, particularly the Mayor Briggs test and other career tests online, and all of them pointed me towards counseling jobs. I looked into school counseling, mental health counseling, and career counseling. And career counseling made the most sense because I'd been advising my friends, my family, and just youth in my life on how to choose their career path. And after weighing the risk of jumping ship from one industry to another during COVID, I finally took the plunge to start a master's in higher education administration with a concentration in counseling. And surprisingly, coincidentally, I was also let go from my corporate job at the time. But it helped to start afresh into the higher education world. Fast forward now about 2 years, and I am now working in a job that fits just right for me, and I have credentials that I'm extremely proud of. It can feel like a huge risk, and it looks different for everyone as their lifestyle and their commitments allow, but it can be rewarding in the end when you finally find the right place. Everyone's path is going to look different. Some transitions will be smoother than that, and others will come with the challenges. But we are here to help you to feel empowered with information and resources when you're ready, to take that next step. So today, we'll be talking about changing or advancing in your current career. We'll delve into some areas you might want to consider in order to get it right. Our session will be split into two areas. First, we're going to be looking at advancing in your career, in your current career, talking about how to communicate your goals to leadership, asking for a raise or a promotion, building your resume, and making connections. If you're looking to change your career altogether, we'll explore and identify a new path. We'll explore identifying a new path, how to rebrand yourself professionally, gearing your resume towards this new area, networking and building connections, and of course, practical steps to help you find that new job. There might be a lot of information here, but feel free to write down any questions you have, and you can always reach out to us after this to get those questions answered as well. There are many who are certain they want to stay in their current field or make a career change. But sometimes you need some clarity, especially when you might feel unsettled or ready for a change. In that case, having some initial conversations with yourself can help. And these are some questions that we suggest that you might want to ask yourself, which includes, am I happy within the field or industry that I'm working in? If I'm unhappy with my job right now, is it just this job? Is it this company? Or is it the whole industry? Some things to remember is that number one, our motivations and our interests change over time. So it's a good idea to check in with yourself and see if this work is still right for you. Also, we often acquire responsibilities over time because we're good at them. But just because we're good at something doesn't necessarily mean that we love it. So ask yourself, has your job shifted away from something you enjoy? Another question that you might want to ask yourself is this something that I could see myself doing for the next few years? Perhaps you have an idea of what your life will look like in the near future. Maybe your personal life is going to look different. You might have some changes along the way, and you want to be in a position that fits that change. Whatever it is, think about the timeline of your career. What is the career trajectory in this position? Does it work for me? Do I want to go higher than what is possible in this role? It might be time for you to do some research into how much you can actually level up in a position so that you don't feel stagnant in one place. Am I being compensated fairly? Am I earning the same as others doing the same job? Or are my salary and my benefits in line with the market? Are there other factors to consider that affect this? Again, doing research in this area might be helpful for you to understand, and we'll talk about this a little bit more when we discuss negotiating a raise or negotiating a change in your salary. Are my work demands reasonable and realistic? Are my assignments within the scope of my job description? Are the demands of me in line with my industry and level of compensation? At some point, you might need to ask if you're being overworked, and whether it's temporary or permanent, something that you might want to consider. How supportive is management in ensuring that you have a reasonable workload? Each of these questions will lead you to do some research in the industry you're in, to see the trends, see what others are doing in your field and what they're saying, and ultimately help you to assess what direction you want to take in your career. Once you've identified whether you are trying to advance in your career or make a change in your career, you can move on to the next steps. So, if you're at a point where you feel ready to advance your current career, this next section is for you. Advancing in your current industry could include seeking new opportunities at your current organization or at other organizations. So while this presentation focuses more on seeking a promotion or a raise with your current employer, I do want to remind you that we have resources available to you if you would like to start a new job search with another company. We have multiple resources on our website, including our job search guidebook, links to job boards like Handshake. We're taking advantage of your LinkedIn page. We also offer events with employers that might interest you, things like recruiting hours, information sessions, career fairs, and more. And finally, our coaches are always available should you ever need some help looking for a new career advancement. So to set yourself up for success, there are some areas you want to look into when it comes to career advancement. It may feel daunting, and you may have seen examples of individuals walking into their boss's office online or on the media, when they're asking for a raise and it just goes badly. Or maybe you might have heard some real life stories, individuals who've tried to ask for a promotion, but then they get shut down. Whatever the case is, asking for a raise or a promotion is something you are allowed to do, and most of the times you deserve that raise or that promotion. So how do you begin? You could start by identifying your career goals. What are your short-term and your long-term goals? What's the timeline on achieving these? Take the time to identify what you'd like to achieve and by when, so that you are striving for something tangible. Define what advancement looks like for you. It's important to define for yourself what advancement might look like, and so you want to ask yourself what you are striving for. What would success look like in my career? And it looks different for everyone. Is it a direct promotion from your current role into in the same department? Or is it a higher position in another area of the organization? Is it taking on an additional responsibility like chairing a committee or absorbing another area under your leadership? Are you looking for a higher salary, better benefits, additional perks? Whatever you decide, defining it beforehand can be very helpful. Seek feedback from others. Getting feedback from others is also key to ensuring that you are understanding and improving on your own strengths and your weaknesses, not just from managers, but also from peers too. By identifying what you do well and what needs work, it can help you to stand out when you work in these areas, on these areas, and then you're more efficient in your job. Use your network. In addition to seeking advice, you can use your network to get as much information as possible and see how to tap into the right avenues to advance your career. Find out about salaries, opportunities in other departments, get the perspective of those who are already in the position you want to be in, and use your connections wherever possible. And then finally, be open with your manager and leadership. Once you've identified your goals, talk to your manager to let them know you hope to achieve, to let them know what you hope to achieve, and take time to assess if the current position you're in will allow for those goals to be met. Talking to your manager or to leadership might open you up to new advancements in your career that you didn't know existed. And this is only possible if you're transparent on what you want. When is the best time to ask for a promotion or a raise? When it comes to promotions and raises at your workplace, timing is key. And typically, the timing is usually right. Firstly, when you've been in your job for a while and you want more responsibilities. So if you just arrived at your workplace and you're asking for a promotion, it might not work in your favor, right? Typically, someone who's been in their position, who is seasoned, who's been there for a considerable amount of time and wants more responsibilities, will be more likely to get it. Also, your responsibilities no longer match your job title. If you notice that the job responsibilities aren't the same as when you were hired the first time, it's likely time for you to look into positions that match your job tasks and your responsibilities. You can also mention this when discussing with leadership, as you can show that you're working beyond your scope. And then finally, you can show when you've shown that you have much more to offer. You might ask yourself how you can demonstrate this. Sometimes this goes back to your responsibilities and taking on more. On the other hand, you may have earned a degree or another credential that might qualify you for a pay bump. And this is especially important in corporate. Be sure to also do your research within your own workplace. Consult your employee handbook because that would be helpful and useful in case they have pay scales and raise schedules that are detailed in there. That way, you know exactly what qualifies you for a promotion or a raise. All right. So if you've identified that the time is right, it's time to go out and ask. So these are some things to consider that you want to take note. Know your market value. It's important to know what a competitive salary looks like, and you'll want to know this information when you're negotiating with your superior. Going back to what we discussed before, talking to others in the field to see what their estimated salaries are, and doing research online are both ways to help you get an idea. Emphasize your achievements and your value. Going back to your goals and identifying your strengths and your weaknesses, this is where you can mention to your superior what value you offer to them and set yourself up in a good light. Show them how you have offered to them, what you have offered to them since working there, and provide examples of how you have been going the extra mile or doing more work than your job description requires. Keep an open mind. While you might have an idea of what you would like, and your manager may also agree, that doesn't guarantee that you will get the exact pay raise that you're asking for example. Many factors are included in the decision made to give a pay raise, so be mindful of this. Consider the organization you work for, whether it's a startup, a bigger company. See if what you're asking for is realistic. Be willing to compromise or offer alternatives if you don't get exactly what you want. And finally, discuss the next steps forward. Make sure that the conversation you have is not just a one and done. Have a discussion that leaves room for the next steps, ensuring that your superior will get back to you with an update. Retain the goodwill of your manager and the company in the process. So practically, when setting up the conversation with leadership, look at the following areas. Like we mentioned, consider the timing of when you're asking for the raise or the promotion in terms of how long you've worked there, and also just in general, what is going on with the organization right now, and is this the best time to ask? Put your request in writing. Put together a professional request in the form of an email in letter format, because this helps to make your request more formal. Schedule time with your superior to start the formal conversation. Be sure not to spring up the conversation without your superior knowing, but set up a meeting, set some time aside for this conversation. Come prepared with all the information that we have discussed, right? So as we mentioned, doing your research, understanding your career goals, helping to understand your achievements as well. These will all be helpful to your case. So when you're not prepared, it may not help build a stronger case for you. So it's good to come with all the information so that when they ask the questions, you have the answers. So within this conversation about salary raises, you might be wondering what is a good salary raise to ask for. And if you're unsure, use the QR code on the slide to watch our detailed walkthrough of researching and negotiating your salary. We are also happy to help you here at Mercy for personalized support on this topic. Finally, you will want to update your resume so that it is ready for applying for potential career changes and promotions, as you will likely need it when you're applying for a new position. In this case, there are some areas to remember when updating your resume so that it is considered for a higher or a different role. For example, you might want to start looking at your work experience and how you've listed it. Make sure that you are adding new responsibilities you have been taking on. Update the bullet points in your job listings with accomplishments you want to show off and relevant experience as it pertains to the job that you are looking for. Your skills section. Showcase those skills that you have that will be beneficial in a higher role or in a different role, right? Such as managerial or leadership skills or relevant skills that are needed in the position you're looking at. Include examples of training, supervising, problem solving, or working in a team as well, especially if it's in a higher position. Certification and training. To show that you've done some professional development or some training, add any certification that is relevant to the position you're looking for, or training for the position that you're going for. This helps to show that you know what you're doing. If you have any awards, if you've received any awards or recognition at your workplace, be sure to add this as well, because this is the time for you to really showcase yourself on your resume. Changing your career. So people have different ideas of what changing your career might mean. And if you Google or you try to find statistics on it, you will see many different opinions. So perhaps you might be thinking about leaving your organization and going to a new one. But that would be another conversation, as we're focusing more on moving from one industry or a field to another altogether. For example, you might have been working in the corporate world in HR for many, many years, but now you realize that you would like to pivot into teaching in higher education. This is the type of change that we're going to be discussing today. If you feel like it's high time for you to carve out a new career path for yourself, it can feel a little daunting for some, while it might be new and refreshing, a great new start for others. Maybe you realize that doing something else would feel more fulfilling to you, or you just want to explore options for yourself that work better for your career goals. So whatever the case is, identifying what you'd like to do is the first step, and there are multiple resources available for you to do this. First of all, research alternative career options. Look into the salaries, job titles, daily activities, job trajectories for roles that you might be interested in. Tap into your interests, your hobbies, your skills. You might want to sit down and assess, what do I like to do? Is this something that I could do for work, or would I like to keep it separate from work? It's definitely something that you can tap into when you want to move forward. Take career assessments that might give you an idea of what field you should be in. We already offer tools on our website like Focus 2, and this includes personality exploration tools linked to your career like Myers-Briggs, Clifton Strengths, and more. These are all good options for you to use to understand what you should be doing with your career. Speak to your network, whether it might be peers, family, career advisors in your life. Some of them know you better than you do. While I was working as an administrative assistant for years, when I reached out to my own close friend and mentor, asking if he thought that I could work as a counselor, not only did he give me a stamp of approval, but he actually gave me multiple examples in my life where he witnessed me using my counseling skills over and over again. And so his reassurance gave me the confidence that I needed to pursue a master's in higher education. And here we are today. It is always important for you to put your best foot forward, and this is especially true when you're looking to get into a new career path. Rebranding can help you to bring your strongest points forward, showcasing different aspects of your skill set to set you apart from your competitors. So, when rebranding, think about the following areas that you might want to look into. First of all, define your objective for your career shift. You would have likely already done this if you've researched your near career path, but it's a good idea to actually have this specifically identified and written down so that you know exactly what you're thinking about. Determine your unique selling point. Again, as part of your research, you look into the skills needed to stand out, assess your own job experience and what others are doing within the field to make sure that you are standing out from the competition. Tell your career story. Be sure to understand your reasons for your personal rebranding and make sure that it's consistent with your previous brand so that others can see the journey that your career is taking. This is something you'll want to articulate well during interviews, on your resume, and in other places as well, so that they can see that your shift is intentional and well thought out. Introduce your new brand to your network. Show it off. Show off your credentials, show off your accomplishments. You can do this through LinkedIn, through Facebook, other job social media pages, any other place where you identify where your career identity lives. Be sure to keep it up to date with new credentials and accomplishments too. And speak to your network. Let them know about your shift, which can also be an opportunity to seek advice or to get some help. Your resume is the first thing leadership will see when you start applying for new jobs, whether this is in your organization or even outside. So it's important that you update it accordingly. First, you might want to use your professional summary. If you have not already, your summary at the top of your resume should include your career change and highlight relevant skills. In our example here, we have a camp counselor who wants to pivot into event planning. So they mention their experience, they highlight the skills in their experience that is relevant, and then they identify the area that they're looking to get into. Your skills and keywords on your resume. Tailor your resume to include relevant skills and keywords. For example, if you were pivoting from camp counseling experience into event planning, you would highlight skills such as event management, organization, leadership, problem solving, teamwork. These are all transferable skills that were identified and can be used in the new career path. Work experience. Talk about relevant accomplishments and transferable skills that you may have acquired over the years that are and to this relevant to this new career. Be sure to use career coaches like us to help you with the wording in these sections, or you can also use the resources that we have available in our website. So just as you would update your resume, make sure that you're also updating your job profiles that have your experience listed, like LinkedIn, Glassdoor. Include these changes to a cover letter as well when you're writing for the position. You may not realize it, but many individuals in your life make up your network who can be helpful and relevant to your career change. Whether you decide that friends, family, or peers may know someone, or perhaps they are that someone, who work in a field that you're interested in, feel free to reach out to these individuals because they can connect you with someone else or give you guidance. You won't know unless you go out there and talk to people. Career advisors like us can also be a helpful resource as they can connect you with relevant opportunities and even employers who might be hiring. So like we have it here, right? Our events, in-person hiring days, fairs. You know that you always have us at your disposal here at Mercy. So take advantage of what career services have to offer you. I also want to emphasize events like recruitment days, career fairs, info sessions, as these are a great opportunity to connect with employers directly. This helps you put yourself out there for possible job opportunities and getting industry knowledge along the way as well. Use social networks like LinkedIn or Handshake because these are another way for you to build your connections. If you haven't already, check out organizations or jobs that interest you on LinkedIn or Handshake. See if you have any connections to them already through maybe shared connections, alumni who might have worked there, because you can reach out to those individuals and see if they can also help you on a professional level. Be sure to watch our videos on how best to use LinkedIn to make sure you're using your social media, your social networks wisely and professionally. And remember, be authentic when you're making these connections, find a common cause between all of you, and reciprocate as well so that it's not just a one-sided transaction. Finally, once you've taken all the necessary steps to prep you for looking for that new job, you can finally start the application process. So your job search might not look too different, as most job sites will likely have listings for the new job you're looking for. Nonetheless, be intentional with your search and know what you're looking for. General job sites like Handshake, Indeed, Glassdoor, LinkedIn, these are all great places for you to start depending on how popular your new job title or your field is. But you can make use of any job site to see what they have. The other thing to remember is specialized job sites that are more industry specific. For example, higher ed jobs, for example, if you were looking into higher education positions. You can use job search resources available to you online. We have some on our website too that highlight specific websites. Staffing agencies are also helpful, especially for those that are specific to your field or your industry of interest. And finally, as we mentioned, networking, building connections is useful as you discover more opportunities this way. And so to conclude, changing or advancing your career can involve some big steps. And it may feel daunting, as we mentioned, but in the end, you can end up feeling a sense of relief once you realize you're in a position that is better for you and makes you feel good about yourself and where your career is going. Self reflection and research is really important throughout this change or the advancement that you're trying to get through. Understanding why you want to make the change or why it's so important to step up a level in your job can help to make you feel more informed so that you know that your steps are in the right direction. It can also help when speaking to others, like leadership, in case they're involved. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Whatever you decide to do, once you feel that it's the right way to go, get out of that comfort zone. Many at times struggle to take that risk because it's uncomfortable, but it can also have some promising results. So thank you so much for joining me for this session on changing or advancing your career. Don't forget to count your attendance for the session, and to do that, you can use the QR code on the slide to complete your quiz. You can find more resources on our website at career.mercy.edu. If you'd like to discuss any of this with a career coach, you can schedule an appointment on Handshake, or you can email us at cpd@mercy.edu. If you want to stay current with other events and advice from our office, give us a follow on Instagram at Mercy Careers. All the best.